We made it to nationals, and that was amazing because we were one of the best. I think at the time it was the 4 teams. It was a round robin, actually. So it was the best 4 teams in the whole nation, and so we thought we were just the next best thing since sliced bread. And I think that playing in that tournament was so surreal because you played against other club teams that were so good and at the same level as you that you don't necessarily always get the chance or opportunity to play against, which was so great for us because we were like, wow, these girls are like just as good as us, if not better, and we have to compete at the highest level and play these 3 games, or at that, it was a round robin, so we did the 4. But still, that just reminds me of how competitive I was and my teammates were at that age, which also I think helped me get to the next level. And being that competitive at the club level has only helped me, continue to grow and my competitive spirit and level that I'm playing at right now.
The national championships was really, really special. I think that was like the biggest thing I had really won, and that's kind of for youth soccer growing up, that was kind of the ultimate prize. And I think we were always super ambitious in achieving that and to have that happen. And I think what's so special about youth soccer is that it's really your family. The girls that you grow up with become like your sisters, and you do everything. And there's just like such a strong camaraderie there. So to play with a team that you've played for a while with, and with these girls, it's a very special feeling to win something like that.
Those were really great moments because at such a young age, I feel like I was competing for something and really working hard to, perform for my team. And it was no longer just about, whatever the result is the result. I mean, at the end of the day, you win some, you lose some. But that was probably the moments that I was like, whoa, we got to win. We got a state championship on our hands that we could actually bring home. And I think those are really cool moments because, you remember a lot of the times that you win. You try to remember the losses as well because you do learn from them. But at the same time, you want to remember the wins that you have. So state championships were definitely a really important part of my memory.
Sometimes you can play with the best players. To play against the best players is where you get better. My team went to the national championship one time. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but it was just an amazing experience to feel like, and I'm from a small town, so to feel like you were competing against the best in the country is something that I'll always remember.
Our state cup was fun. My team was very competitive. I mean, we had a lot of competition as well, but I can't remember how many we won. Maybe 9, I think, is what we counted with our team, which made it so much fun. That was always like the big goal at the end is win state cup, go to regionals, and go to nationals. And we always fell short going to nationals, which still hurts today to even talk about. But I had so much fun in those tournaments, and my team made it even 10 times better to be a part of.
I get to play now in front of huge crowds and with all this spotlight and attention, and I don't think I'll ever have that feeling that I did going through my U14 national championship. I remember winning state cup. I can tell you how I scored, what the score was. I remember going to Hawaii. That was our regionals, Region 4, and I remember that national championship. And I think that it stays with me so much because it was about camaraderie. It was about growing and learning who you were and making these lifelong bonds.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frisco, Texas, site of the 2016 U.S. Youth Soccer National Championships. It's day 3 of group play, and still we have yet to decide who's going through on a lot of these matchups. It should be a pretty good contest here today as we bring you the Fullerton Rangers against Ohio Premier. Ohio Premier is going to be in their All Blacks, and Fullerton Rangers are going to be in their all yellows. They're currently playing the national anthem, so I'll step aside for a brief moment. Done. Players getting set for this under 16 boys group game, as we mentioned, between Fullerton Rangers and Ohio Premier. Todd Panula along with you here today. Good morning to you all, regardless of where you're watching from, whether it's in Dublin, Ohio, or Fullerton, California, and a special welcome to all of you getting up in the wee hours of the morning, as it's right around 5:30 out there, 7:30 local time. Hopefully for a more pleasant day here, as we've had some rain stoppages the past couple days. Not in any of the early morning games, but usually it kind of rolls in the afternoon. So hopefully we'll be able to get a full day of action. But as of right now, nothing looks like it's going to happen through the weather. It's a little bit of cloud cover, but it's fairly scattered. Just enough to keep the sun away for right now and keep it a little more pleasant here today. So it should be good conditions for everybody out there. The field is a little bit damp as we had some rain come through last night, so it'll be interesting to see how well it holds up. It's been doing fairly well overall, although you could probably see a few chunks here and there scattered throughout the field, so the turf may become an issue throughout the contest, but as of right now, hopefully not too much. We'll get into the particulars of the two teams and what they have to do to try to get something going here towards the second round and get into the semifinals. But for right now, it's Fullerton in their bright-colored jerseys going left to right, and Ohio in their all blacks going right to left. They get possession after a miscue on the long ball from Fullerton, and they work it up the near sideline, trying to go over to Kiley. That one will roll into touch, and it'll be with Fullerton. Again, we want to welcome you in, regardless of where you're watching from. This production presented by Turbo Sports Group, the official web streaming provider of U.S. Youth Soccer. Been bringing you all the action throughout this tournament. Obviously, we do apologize. Didn't look at the timing schedule on either of these two teams, but if they were involved in any of those afternoon games over the past couple days, we apologize for having to cut the stream, but we have some very sensitive equipment, and with lightning in the area, it just didn't make sense for anybody's safety to leave it running, and when you're unsure of when those games were going to pick up again. But as I mentioned in this early morning matchup, weather shouldn't be an issue. It's fairly cool, at least comparatively to what it might be later on today and what it has been. Now into the box, though, for Fullerton. They get an opportunity. Coming in is Martinez. The spin shot, a save. But the flag was up, so it would not have mattered. Castro with a good job to get down and cover that one. as a goalkeeper, sometimes it doesn't really matter that you were bailed out by the offside flag. You made the save, and you kind of get yourself a little more comfortable. You get that first save in, doesn't really matter if it would have counted or not. You still feel pretty good about yourself. Ohio Premier behind it just a little bit here in the early going, as it's been Fullerton trying to push, and they're going to have to push here today, as Ohio Premier has already qualified for the semifinals with a record of 2-0-0. It just matters in terms of where they finish in the group. Good sliding challenge to take it away from Luke Kiley. Kiley, one of the leading goal scorers in this age bracket. He's got 2 goals. Quick restart off the free kick. Going left. Looking for a few options to try to spread the ball around. Right now, Fullerton content to just kind of spread it around the back line. Trying to go up top. They're looking for Chung. That didn't quite make it. Takes a couple deflections. Chung coming back. Gets a piece of it. Bit of a heavy touch there from Aguirre. Over the top, looking for Fleischman. Instead, it's Salazar. Fleischman putting on some pressure. And it'll be a goal kick. Again, quick restart for Fullerton as they're wanting to try to get things off on the right foot here today. They have a record of 0-1-1, and they have yet to score a goal. So a bit of a disappointing showing so far for the team coached by Rolando Uribe. It's going to be that kind of day, apparently. They had a 0-0 draw earlier in the week against Concord Fire, and then were shellacked 6-0 by Dix Hills Hurricanes. So Fullerton is pretty much out with a -6 goal differential. They would need a pretty big win here today, and would need other results to fall their way, but that seems highly unlikely going against the team that is undefeated so far through group play and a goal differential of 4 since they've scored 5 goals and allowed 1. But as long as hope remains, you might as well throw caution to the wind and try to get something. But here's Ohio Premier getting things rolling just a little bit. Free kick from the offside call. Popping one over the top. On it is Aragon. OP coming near side. Fleischman trying to avoid pressure, but ended up putting it right into a thicket of players. Attempting to go over the top here. It's on for Mensah, and the shot just went wide. Good flick up the right-hand side. Perez challenged by Walters. Walters getting it, and he'll get himself a corner. So it'll be a corner kick for Ohio Premier. Going over to take it is Sam Mason. He's going to put it into the mixer with a right footer. And he actually goes back. Stratar. Now they get the flick, and they score! A fantastic head ball goal from Matthew Walters. It seemed like almost a bit of a misplay to not just take that straight from the corner kick. They went back to Matt Stratar. He served a beautiful ball in, and Matthew Walters was able to get on the end of it. He's going to put it into the mixer with the flick header. Footer. And he up and over the goalkeeper, and it's 1-0 in favor of Ohio Premier. Stratar. Now they get the flick, and they score! A fantastic head ball goal from Matthew Walters. So an early goal for Ohio really puts them in charge as they try to top their group and give themselves a statistically easier chance of making the finals. You never can tell. Sometimes in these group stages you get a team that's had a bad game but really shows up in the semifinals, despite the fact that they were the second team in their own group. But right now, Ohio Premier just trying to do what they can to make sure that they're tops of theirs. Coming near side now, Ibarra. And now Aguirre. Aguirre again. Mesa. Chung with a good touch. And that's taken away. Stratar. Kiley. Not too far over the midfield stripe. Now inside to Mesa. Up the wing. Chung. Took a bit of a knock. Had to come back with it. Martinez. Now Ibarra. Looking for space. Not too much to be had right now. The little chip looking for Mesa, but that was rubbed out by Rubido. Rendon. As Fullerton in a bit of a treat. Trying to get it over the top. Chung attempts to keep it in. Here comes Ohio Premier. Slipping over on the far side was Stritter. Metza with a cheeky little flick around the player. Gets the return pass, looking for a little bit of space. Puts on the brakes. Now to Chung. Right foot across. Martinez. Good one-touch passing, and then the last one left Oliver Metza a little bit frustrated. But Fullerton back on the attack. Good press by Salazar. And it'll be a corner kick. It's a frustration by Ohio Premier, feeling that they thought they had drawn a foul. Instead, it'll be an offensive opportunity for Fullerton. The team out of Fullerton, California, just kind of looking to finish this tournament off strong at this point. A draw would do them no good. They have to get a win, and even then, probably not going to happen. Good head ball from Metza as he got high up in the air. Got a decent amount of power behind it, but wasn't able to angle it down, which was needed to get it past the goalkeeper, as it ended up safely in the hands of Castro. So an early substitute here for Ohio Premier. Kylie comes out. Quickly in is David Brown. Kind of an aimless ball up towards the forward side. Through the middle, Fleischman calling for the ball, but they take it out towards the wing. Brown, recently checked into the game, cuts it through the defender, but sticking out a leg and just getting a piece of that. So throw in from deep inside the offensive third. Doesn't amount to much as that's cleared away. Martinez able to get a good foot onto that one to avert the danger. Guerra. Now Aguirre. Chung. Keeping it along the sideline. Double teamed, working around it. Gaining the throw. Trying to pop that one over the top. And again, Metz looking a little bit frustrated. Chested down in the midfield circle. Brown goes right. Dispossessed. Salazar has a few options, but those were taken away quickly with the close down. Aguirre, Chung, again, working this right-hand side. Trying to nip that one over the top. Didn't quite get it up high enough. And now Ohio Premier thought they were going to be able to ask some questions. Instead, it's Fullerton right back on it. The Rangers looking for an equalizer here after an early goal from Matthew Walters. Ohio Premier trying to get it into transition. Looking for Brown. He would have been off to the races if Salazar had not cut that off. Scoop pass. Now they center it for Mesa. Once again, read well by Rubido. Aragon. Again, the passes in tight quarters actually seem to be very good for the Rangers. But it's when they try those long balls that they don't seem to be able to get them on target. Paoletti just popped one up in the air as it took a touch off the defender. Roberts. Roberts carrying it towards the corner, and he'll get himself a throw. Back out. We'll do it again. Going the other way. Trying to chip one over the top. Mesa trying to run onto it. Rubido elects just to touch it out. Not a bad idea. Just avert the danger. Let your teammates get back in support. Fullerton trying to put on a little bit more pressure. That one's intercepted. Metza drops it back. Chung Aguirre looking for options, and again, just that final ball isn't quite there right now. Fullerton doing a good job to play it to feet, but then once it gets into more of a attacking area, it seems to be lacking. Fullerton trying to get it on the attack. Take it away. Good defending there. Popped high up in the air by Roberts. Now the shot. That one was stopped. Classic defending. Able to keep it out. It's Fullerton trying to keep their slim hopes alive. Right now they're completely behind the 8 ball with seemingly no shot, but mathematically they aren't quite out of it. Trying to go up through the center circle. It's on for Mason. Mason looking for options, gets a return feed. Going to get a free kick. Interesting decision, as it seemed like Ohio had a bit of an advantage going. Sub was not recognized, so we'll keep play going. Pulley. Popped up into the air. A little bit of a collision there. Arm came out. Now we'll get the sub to come in. Checking into the game is Chris Dowling. Dowling known for his setup prowess. As in his high school season, he was the team assist leader for the district champions. Fullerton trying to change the point of attack. They're going to have a couple substitutes come in of their own. Up the far sideline. Dealt with at least briefly by Pulley. And then Stratar sends it up. Stratar off the throw. Brown with the header. Comes too far back though. Mason looking for space here on the near side. Paoletti. That one will roll out for a dangerous attacking throw. Subs coming in now for Fullerton. It's going to be Maldonado and Beningaza. Into the box, could be dangerous here. Fleischman sends it back. Cross going near post. Dealt with by the defenders, but still not quite out of the attacking third. Martinez tried the quick restart, but wasn't quite in the right position. So Fullerton didn't get what they wanted out of that one because they had a few numbers running forward, and Ohio Premier might have been caught sleeping. Salazar a little bit disappointed with his first touch. Mesa from the center circle takes a bit of a fall. We saw some of the turf come up with that one. Again, these fields have held up pretty good. It's just interesting to see the times when you get those dirt clumps flying. It's oftentimes not necessarily when you would think. It's just somebody trying to get a plant foot down and the grass goes out from underneath. Day 3 of group action here. We hope you're enjoying the game so far. Obviously a little more enjoyment coming for the fans from Dublin, Ohio right now as their team leads 1-0. The goal coming from Matt Walters, and that's the difference so far. Pulley. And again, the ground gives way just a little bit. Brown couldn't quite hold on to it. Misplay there, but Fullerton will take possession. Bengaza looking for a little bit of space. Finds Martinez. Cycled through the middle. Aguirre. It's been very busy here on the near sideline. Roberts goes the other way. Dowling. Now Pulley. Sending it up the line, looking for Brown, but that's going to be too direct and roll all the way out. Mesa trying the left. Bengaza puts his arms out in exasperation, not really sure where that one was meant to go. Paletti trying the left. Good stick there from Aguirre. Bengaza. Pulley. Through the midfield to Fisher. Sends it right back out towards the line. Now we'll have an opportunity to get the sub in. Coming in is Trevor Johnson for Ohio Premier. Johnson, Olympic Development Program finalist in 2015, so that shows you what kind of quality Ohio Premier possesses when you can have a player like that coming off the bench. Also about to check in for Fullerton will be Eduardo Chares. Going over to Bengaza. Oh, something could have been on there if he could have got that one to settle down. He came close to winning a corner, but by sticking out the foot, it just went off the toe, and it's going to be a goal kick. So Charis is in, Chung is out. Charis is going to go to a more central role while Chung had been spending a lot of time here on the near sideline. Bengaza pushed out wide now. Hops over the head of Brown. Salazar all the way back to the keeper. And he has to just play it out as that was a little bit too dangerous for his liking. Fasano. Hasn't been troubled too much yet. Despite the fact that Ohio Premier has the goal, he hasn't really had to come up with any saves. It was an absolute whip snap of a header. It was able to beat him. A couple runners now. Chatty's trying to send one over to Benincasa. He's in the box, knocks down the defender, but that's too much for the official. Good unselfish play there from Fullerton, but you almost wonder if Chavez should have just tried to take the shot. Obviously, from our vantage point, it's difficult to tell if there was a defender in his path or not. So you like the idea, you like the unselfishness, the good team play. But when you're already down a goal, sometimes you just need to look for your own. Downing takes a bit of a knock from behind. There was no advantage to the foul given. Possession given away, and Fullerton with another opportunity. Lobbing one over the top. Charis runs onto it. Goalkeeper out. Charis spinning it around. Leaves it for Benincasa, and then he shoots it over the bar. He can't believe himself. It was set up for him. There were defenders closing in, but ultimately Benincasa needs to finish that off. Leaned back a little too much. Another free kick given. OP will put it back into play. And here's Chatties. Again, lobbing one over the top. Castro took it off the bounce. Pulley, tried to slip one through to Johnson. Wasn't quite on. Now Fullerton going the other direction. In transition, Maldonado spinning away from Dowling as he was right in his back pocket. Not strong enough for Benincasa. Brown able to settle it down. Tried a nifty little pass through the midfield circle. Salazar. Maldonado. A little bit heavy on the touch. Diving try for Ibarra. Getting around it. Oh, Ohio Premier thought they had numbers. Instead, they give it away. Again, looking for that long ball over the top. Castro puts it quickly back into play as they switch the point of attack. Paoletti. Going to go direct. Nobody there. Again, you like the idea, but the final product wasn't quite what they would have liked. Fullerton up the left. Guerra was there. Couldn't quite get a touch onto it. Subs coming in for both teams. Fullerton will have the first. Aram Nodalazed comes into the game. Coming in for Ohio Premier is McCourt, Burke, and Patchett. Just the one sub for Fullerton. Nodalazed. I apologize to his family. I'm most likely butchering that. Charis. Looking for Nodalazed. Coming in for Ohio. And a free kick given. We're going to get a booking. The pocket is being checked with. And the yellow card brandished. Maldonado goes into the book. Fullerton still looking for that equalizing goal, trying to press it up the left-hand side. The recently cautioned Maldonado got around one defender, but the touch was a bit too heavy. And that's the downfall when you play a team like Ohio Premier. They're so well organized. When you fall down by a goal, it's going to be difficult to get it back. They've had a few chances. They probably should have equalized. But right now, you can't necessarily focus on that. You have to think about what you can do positively. Maldonado trying to track it down. In touch, Ohio Premier with the throw. Coming through the midfield, Fullerton trying to get things up onto the offensive third. They bomb it up the wing. Johnson laid it off. Through midfield for Fisher. Dowling. And now Paoletti. Benegaza looking at those wheels run as he tried to track that one down. Did enough to throw off Paoletti, but it's still in possession of OP. Fleischman cutting through the defenders. And they got too cute with that one as they attempted to get it over to Dowling. Numbers run forward in these highlighter jerseys. As a broadcaster, definitely appreciate those. We've had some interesting ones throughout the tournament. Sometimes you'll have red jerseys with black numbers or white jerseys with white numbers. Not sure how any of that makes sense to the designers. Somebody thought they looked cool, but these ones pop. Coming in for Charis. Lunges for it. Benegaza with the volley. The flag was up, would not have gone. So you like the offensive pressure by Fullerton. They haven't given up despite the almost insurmountable odds facing them. Chested down by Aguilar. And then mishandled just a little bit by Fleischman. He'd like to have that one over the top of Paoletti. Chattis can't hang on to it. Now here's Dowling with lots of space in front, right up the gut. It was closed down, and then Brown's pass went awry. They still get another opportunity. It sneaks under the boot of Johnson. He's able to recover. Dowling with another big amount of green in front of him. Cross wasn't quite high enough. Maldonado on the counter. Beningaza trying to stay onside. Another opportunity perhaps. Maldonado puts on the brakes. Chavez. Chavez again. He's got a man open on the near side. Beningaza in the 18. The cross. Nothing there. Now the long shot. Castro with another solid stop. Most of his saves have been pretty much down to positioning, just getting his body in behind the ball, as he hasn't necessarily been tested too much left to right yet. And that kind of comes down to that discussion about that final ball. So there's going to be at least 1 minute of stoppage time added on to the end of this half, as that is closing in. A high boot there is going to give a free kick to Ohio Premier. David Brown, a little bit shaken up after that. And now we might get a card coming out, and we are. And it's a red. Wow. And we are. So Fullerton already down 1-0. Now down to 10 men. And obviously you understand the intention, because the boot came up and apparently caught DJ Brown in the throat. He's still a little bit shaken up after it. So on first glance, it didn't look like there was a ton of contact. You saw the boot come up, but I really don't think that Brown is adding anything into this. I think he actually caught it pretty good in the throat, and that's going to leave you stinging for a while. But still, an interesting decision by the official to hand out the red card to Edward Salazar. And now there appears to be an issue with somebody over on the Fullerton Ranger bench. The referee displeased with the fact that he's using his cell phone to record the proceedings. But in today's society, you can pretty much count on just about everything that somebody has a problem with being recorded in some fashion. But with play restarted from the free kick as it rolled out, it'll be a goal kick coming out now. Fullerton again down to 10 men as they're already down a goal. And there's the halftime whistle. So we'll take a break. We'll score 1-0 in favor of Ohio Premier as they have a goal in the early stages from Matt Walters. And here towards the end of the half, the red card brandished. Edward Salazar's day is done, and perhaps his team's season with it. We'll have more with the second half presented by Turbo Sports after this break.
We made it to nationals, and that was amazing because we were one of the best, I think at the time was of 4 teams. It was a round robin, actually. So it was the best 4 teams in the whole nation. And so we thought we were just the next best thing since sliced bread. And I think that playing in that tournament was so surreal because you played against other club teams that were so good and at the same level as you that you don't necessarily always get the chance or opportunity to play against, which was so great for us because we were like, wow, these girls are like just as good as us, if not better, and we have to compete at the highest level and play these 3 games, or at that, it was a round robin, so really the 4. But still, that just reminds me of how competitive I was and my teammates were at that age, which also I think helped me get to the next level. And being that competitive at the club level has only helped me, continue to grow and my competitive spirit and level that I'm playing at right now.
The national championships was really, really special. I think that was like the biggest thing I had really won, and that's kind of for youth soccer growing up, that was kind of the ultimate prize. And I think we were always super ambitious in achieving that and to have that happen. And I think what's so special about youth soccer is that it's really your family. The girls that you grow up with become like your sisters, and you do everything. And there's just like such a strong camaraderie there. So to play with a team that you've played for a while with, and with these girls, it's a very special feeling to win something like that.
Those were really great moments because at such a young age, I feel like I was competing for something and really working hard to, perform for my team. And it was no longer just about, whatever the result is the result. I mean, at the end of the day, you win some, you lose some. But that was probably the moments that I was like, whoa, we got to win. We got a state championship on our hands that we can actually bring home. And I think those are really cool moments because, you remember a lot of the times that you win. You try to remember the losses as well because you do learn from them. But at the same time, you want to remember the wins that you have. So state championships were definitely a really important part of my memory.
Sometimes you can play with the best players. To play against the best players is where you get better. My team went to the national championship one time. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but it was just an amazing experience to feel like, and I'm from a small town, so to feel like you were competing against the best in the country is something that I'll always remember.
Our state cup was fun. My team was very competitive. I mean, we had a lot of competition as well, but I can't remember how many we won. Maybe 9, I think, is what we counted with our team, which made it so much fun. That was always like the big goal at the end is win state cup, go to regionals, and go to nationals. And we always fell short going to nationals, which still hurts today to even talk about. But I had so much fun in those tournaments, and my team made it even 10 times better to be a part of.
I get to play now in front of huge crowds and with all this spotlight and attention, and I don't think I'll ever have that feeling that I did going through my U14 national championship. I remember winning state cup. I can tell you how I scored, what the score was. I remember going to Hawaii. That was our regionals, Region 4, and I remember that national championship. And I think that it stays with me so much because it was about camaraderie. It was about growing and learning who you were, and making these lifelong bonds.
What is it that defines us? A collection of moments that develop into a memory. Each day, each hour, each second. Our minds let go of 1,000 things a day. Dates of wars and deaths of kings. The tears that dry and the pain that fades. What really is a memory? The immortal thought that makes an ever-changing moment unchangeable. What you make of those moments determines if they are ingrained in you or lost forever. Your memories take the lessons from your journey and turn them into a roadmap for your future. For what is each person's course except a series of choices between the right way and the easy way? Those choices will contribute to the voice in the back of your head that tells you to go further and push harder. The voice that reminds you of the pain of coming up short, or that your time at the top is fleeting. Dedication ensures that when your time comes and you are called to play, that moment will be imprinted on your memory forever. In the years to come, will you look back and wish you had done something differently? Or will you know that you left it all on the field, giving everything you had and everything that you are? This is your moment. How will you remember it?
And welcome back to Frisco, Texas. 1-0 in favor of Ohio Premier. We apologize for coming back a little bit late. Officials seem to have a little bit of a different clock than we did. They seem to come back very quickly. But obviously they're trying to keep things on schedule, so that's fine for them. Nothing happened in the interim. And we're back to live action. Once again, if you're just joining us, we welcome you in this morning. 1-0 the score in favor of Ohio Premier, an early first half goal from Matt Walters. And then late in the half, a straight red card handed out to Edward Salazar as the foot came up. Just from a neutral standpoint, I was actually a little bit surprised that it wasn't a yellow card, but I think since it struck the player in the throat, that was what kind of put it over the edge in terms of being dangerous, and a direct strike to the player, despite the fact that it wasn't intended, makes it understandable that it was a red card in the end. Clearly, Fullerton fans feel a little bit hard done by that. And that's going to make it even more difficult to try to come back in this one. But Ohio Premier looking to hold on to this one and secure their spot in the next round. Obviously, nothing is official that they are into the semifinals, but it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. There was no way that anybody could really displace them from that spot with a record of 2-0-0 coming into this one. They tuck it over here on the near side as it's on the foot of Walters, the goal scorer. Trying to slip one up. Kiley leaves it over here to the near side. Johnson back for Kiley, one of the league-leading goal scorers. He took a rip at it, and that's saved. He's going to have another opportunity. And now we'll have a foul coming out. Kiley a little bit upset about it. And now a few too many words being shared with the official. So a yellow card handed out to Martinez, most likely for dissent. So the wheels falling off a little bit now for Fullerton as they're letting their emotions get the best of them. Obviously, the Salazar incident wasn't necessarily quite in that vein. But here's Janice save. Centering. He's going to have another opportunity. It just won't lay down. The good volley from Fernandez. The ball just wouldn't fall in the right amount of time. So he just had to take kind of a wild stab at that one. Got a good foot behind it, but couldn't get over the top. So now we have somewhat of a bench warning as the fourth official had to go over to Coach Uribe and warn him about his player, which I believe was Oliver Mesa. It's one of those situations where you understand within the letter of the law that it's incorrect. The officials are in charge of the extra balls and when they are not going to be put into play. But these teams, they get so antsy and they want things put back into play very quickly, despite the fact that time will almost always be added on. And they run over and they try to get the balls out from the bag and send them back in very quickly. Well, it doesn't really fly under the organizational rules of U.S. youth soccer. And that's the way that it is, and you have to understand that. Don't want to get your team into extra trouble for something as silly as that. Because that's the interesting thing right now for Fullerton is despite the fact that they've had plenty of cards go against them, and they're down a man. They're only down by a goal. So if you can push one upfield, perhaps get a set piece or something against the run of play. You never know. You could probably get at least a point and feel a little bit better about yourself as you head home. Winning would be just that extra cherry on top right now for Fullerton, but we talked about it a little bit with a -6 and now a -7 goal differential. They would have to just unleash an unthinkable amount of offense. And even then, they would still need results in the other games to go their way. So a free kick coming up for Ohio Premier as they're now going left to right here in the second half. In no great hurry to get this one back into play. They're looking for Kiley. Couldn't quite get it up over the top of the defender. They also had Fleischman up towards the area too. Set back by Patchett. And now McCourt. Try the left-hand side. A little bit more space. Out through the middle. Touched back out to the wing. Seeking something out. Here's Kiley. Team's leading goal scorer. Dropping it back for Patchett. Deflected in towards the area. Going toward the end line. Here's Kiley with a bit of space. And he got a bit cheeky there. Not sure if that was a cross or if he was trying to just chip it in towards that upper 90, but it's a bit hopeful. Substitute about to come in for Fullerton. It'll be Oliver Mesa. More space. Going short at the goal kick, and they'll set it up from the back. Fullerton representing California. Now Johnson for Ohio. Finds Kiley. He's got the wheels to hold it in. A little bit of space. It didn't have the numbers. Patchett tried to set it out for Fleischman, but that was cut out. Good patience here from Ohio Premier as they rebuild. Now the long shot. Tried it from distance, but that one was going to take something special. Here's Mesa. And that's been the kind of day that it's been so far for Fullerton. Walters gets it in. And here's Patchett on the left foot. The right is his stronger one, and he couldn't get it over there. Now they go to Kiley. Oh, it slips under the boot. Keeps it in. Crossing. Nobody there. Patchett again. The ball a little bit slippery here in the early morning. Kiley! He went up for it, got the head onto it, but couldn't quite direct it on target. There's the long ball, lots of backspin on it. Can't get it over the defenders, though. Patchett with a nice little through ball. Looking for Kiley again. And he looks a little bit exasperated as he's going to have to try to chase it in. Just rolls out. Patch it again from that defensive midfield spot, and they roll it back. Burke. Patchett was calling for it. The defender stepped up, knocks it out. Johnson settles it down. Nice touch. Looking for Kiley. He got the defender away. Roberts with opportunity. Long drive. And Fasano getting down. Top-notch save coming from the goalkeeper for Fullerton. As he kept his footwork moving, then that's what you have to do in those situations. Sometimes you'll see goalkeepers get the stone feet, get caught up a little bit. Here's another good ball. The finishing product wasn't quite there. Again, short with the goal kick. Aragon giving a little bit of space. Charis. Possession given up again. Now they're trying to go quick. It's Kiley. Oh, Fleischman had made the run, but the ball wasn't quite hit strongly enough. U16 group action, day 3. Johnson. Back for Fleischman. Lets it roll through all the way to Kiley. He's down. Into the box, though. Corner kick. Shows you the strength of Luke Kiley. As he was down on one knee and still had the wherewithal to get deeper into the 18-yard area. Kiley, one of the leading goal scorers in the entire country, led the league, the National League, in scoring in 2013-14 and was the co-leader just this past season. Here's Charis colliding with his own teammate. And again, that's just kind of how it's gone today for Fullerton. Johnson cuts it through the defender. Now they're in retreat. Kiley takes on the defender. Lovely ball. Now he gets it back. And apparently we have a player down. I think that's Chetis. He's stretching out his right hamstring. Not sure what would have happened back in this area of the field unless he got a little bit shaken up when he collided with his own teammate. I think that could be the case. As when it happened, he looked a little bit jarred. So the sub comes in, Brown back in. And Kiley is out. So his day is done. He won't be able to add to his goal total here in the group stage, but they will rest him up and get set for the semifinals. They actually play the drop ball, a little bit interesting there. Mason going up the gut from the center third. Now it's sent over to the wing. We're trying to go over the top to Brown. Didn't have quite enough mustard on it. Now here's Walters. Runs being made. Goes to the flag. Johnson And then they weren't quite on the same page. It's intended to be a 1-2. Chetty's trying to chase it down. He's got some speed, but the ball is just a little bit faster. Drew Fisher going to come into the game as Ohio Premier continues to get their bench some experience here late in the tournament. So McCourt comes out. Paoletti's going to come in just a moment. Now close into the box and finally closed down on the backside. That looked almost to be a sure goal. As closing in was Ibarra. Mesa to the back post. Coming out to claim it. Castro hasn't been overly tested here today. But any goalkeeper will tell you they'll take that. If you're going to be worked, you'd like more rather than less, but if you don't have to face a whole lot of pressure, then any goalkeeper will take a day off as long as it means a win for the team. So Paoletti will come in now. And I believe that will be it for Walters. Now apparently there's going to be a sub as well for Fullerton. Maldonado will come back into the game. And it looks like Chung will be done for a little while. So Maldonado will take a more central role. Chattis is here on the left wing, and Benitgaza is over on the right. Maldonado able to cut that one out. He's got runners, taking on the defender himself. Place it into Benitgaza. Castro, a little bit of gamesmanship, just waiting for the attacker to come before he picks it up. Slotted one through. Fleischman coming all the way back to pick it off. Place it off the defender and out. Quality play there from Fleischman. He wins his team at throw. There'll be another sub coming up for Ohio Premier at the next opportune time. But right now, Fullerton looking to find that equalizing goal. They've pressed up here in the second half despite the fact that they're down to 10 men. Mesa keeps it alive. Martinez with the shot. It took a deflection. That took a lot of the sting out of it. Might have been a decent shot coming off the foot. But instead, it ends up a fairly easy claim for the goalkeeper. Johnson misjudged it, but only barely. Now here's Mesa going up the line. Flag goes up. It was out. So Chris Dowling will come back into the game now for Ohio Premier. And that will bring out Carter Patchett. Here is Dowling with pressure on his back, able to get around Ibarra. And he has to send it back to Fisher, who was also in a little bit of danger. Bodies flying around for Fullerton, as they can kind of sense this one slipping away. Still plenty of time to find that equalizer, but as we mentioned, a draw would basically just be so they didn't necessarily feel as bad about how they played. And they haven't played poorly, but they haven't played well. The shot from the bad angle, they score! It seemed like it wasn't going to amount to much, but it ends up in the back of the net. And that may have dashed all hopes now for Fullerton. A quality strike from what seemed like an impossible angle. And it ends up 2-0 in favor of Ohio Premier. A big-time strike by DJ Brown puts it in the back of the net as he came in from the left-hand side, took a right-footed shot. Was able to sneak that one under the keeper, just be and into the side. Didn't necessarily feel as bad about how they played, and they haven't played poorly. Bulge the old. They haven't played well. The shot from the bad angle, they score. I used to say on ESPN in the old days. So Chattis is out. Dalizadeh is in. Aram. We'll call him Aram, just to keep things a little bit simpler. Now here is Brown, the goal scorer, to put his team up 2-0. Looking for more. Chopped down, and he will get a free kick. So the free kick will be taken by Matt Stratar. He's going to put a right foot into it, going back post. And it slipped through everyone. All the way back on the defensive end. Trying to slip one by. Ohio Premier. Back in possession. Up the wing. Lots of space. Flag was up. Sub coming in for Ohio Premier. Ashton Pulley will come back into the game at the next opportune time. It wasn't spotted on that opportunity. There's Maldonado from the right. Looking for space, waiting for numbers. Carrying it towards the byline. Ibarra. There's a good cross. Man there, and the defender got just a piece of it. Otherwise, Mesa had it lined it up. They've said it's gone out for the corner kick. So Pulley has entered the game as OP continues to get the fresh bodies out there. Ryan Burke will take a seat. The substitutes obviously a little bit unhappy coming out of the game at this stage, but best to save their energy. Now Mesa comes up with it, takes an elbow to the back of the head. The referee doesn't spot a foul in that though. And here's OP on the attack, Brown. Nobody up to help, but he's going to take on the defender himself, taking it in towards the area, splits the defenders with the ball, but then they walled him off. Chested down. But that ends up over the top of Beningaza. Dangerous challenge there, but no contact made, so no foul. Going the other way. Pulley. Through midfield. And now Fisher. Let's give it away. Here's Mesa. Looking for a little bit of space. Gets around one man. Goalkeeper coming all the way out, and he'll just boot it onto the next field. So Beningaza comes out. Apparently he may have picked up an injury because he didn't come off straight over to the half. Checking into the game is Dionisio Rendon. Aram got a head onto it. Can't be cleared out. Ibarra trying to keep it alive. Second attempt is good on the clearance. Now here's Aragon. Looking for Maldonado. Mesa collides with the player, but the flag was up on that first attempt in. Offside. Castro sends it near wing, and that's just played out. You liked the energy from Fullerton. It's just they have so much to do just to try to get back in this game, let alone any mathematical equation that could have kept them alive. Right now they're just concerned about the final moments of this half. Up the left side with Fleischmann. A couple runs being made up the wing, but he takes it back through midfield. Pulley. Fisher calls to switch. They chop it up the near hand side. Paoletti wants to go inside. The return pass. Flag goes up. Easy offside call. The 1-2 passes, they always get in behind the defense, but I'd say a good 60% of the time, those end up being called for offsides because the runner doesn't take heed of where the defender was. He's more concerned with getting in behind. So the advantage had evaporated, and they call the foul back. Martinez barking out orders, telling everyone to get forward. Everyone except two players on the attacking side of the ball. They send one in, skying up to get a piece of it. Now Mesa in the corner, trying to get a corner kick. And the frustration creeping in. Now Perez will come into the game for Fullerton. We'll see his first action of the game. Hacking and whacking at it as it flies through the air. Coming away with it is Roberts. Runs being made. Fleischmann. They sent the stat, slip it through to Brown. Goalkeeper spilled it. Brown with another opportunity sends it all the way back to Pulley. Now inside to Dowling. He has to send it further back as they're trying to push the reset button. It's on through to Pulley. Cut out. Aguirre. A little bit of a push. Gets caught by the AR on the far side. And that'll be a free kick to Fullerton. Hernandez was putting on a little bit of pressure there, but it's an easy catch for Castro as he tries to spring the counterattack very quickly. Johnson slows it up a bit. Paoletti making the run here on the right. A side tackle from Aram is able to get the ball. Pushing it upfield, Paoletti sends it towards the post. That one was floating dangerously towards target, but Fasano had it covered. Brown just kind of blindly jumps into that one. Mesa playing it over the top of the defenders. Gets it again. Great effort here from Mesa. And he just kind of lunges into the attacking players. He threw a shoulder into Fisher. Now another collision. Coming away with it is Strader. Now Johnson up the right-hand side. He's got a little bit of green in front of him. Looking for options. Taking on the defender one-on-one. Gets it away. Now Dowling. The 18. Chance for Roberts. Roberts on the left hand. Couldn't get the shot away. Oh, a nifty bit of skill there from Fisher. Pulley. In a battle with Rendon. Maldonado. Leaves it for Fernandez. Over the top for Mesa. Taking on the defender, and Paoletti gets the best of it. So it's out for the corner kick with Fullerton. Time taken away to even get something out of this game. And towards the penalty spot. Nothing doing there. We're actually going to get a free kick coming out. Maldonado pleading his case. Not even sure that the foul was called on him, although he's having a lengthy conversation with the center official. So back into play. And they're just allowed to kind of stroll up the field. Now it's with Perez. Ibarra. Trying to get it to Rendon. Pulley gets there first. Sends it out. So you wouldn't necessarily know it by the score line since it's 2-0 in favor of Ohio Premier, but all things considered, I would say that Fullerton has played a pretty good game overall. Obviously, coaches and parents will probably watch the film and not necessarily see that, but they've done some pretty good things. They missed a chance early in the game that would have been an equalizer, as Benghazi had a great opportunity and just got a little too far underneath it. But all things considered, especially when taking into account how good OP is, they haven't played all that poorly, and to only be down 2-0 and challenging the entire game, being down to 10 men for basically the entire second half, it's been a fairly good contest so far for Fullerton. They will just be a little bit hard done due to the fact that they're not going to win a game here in Frisco. And obviously you make the long trek from California over to Texas, and you'd like to come away with at least 3 points. And unfortunately, it's looking like they're only going to get that 1 point from the 0-0 draw in day one. For Ohio Premier, it's pretty much been steady as she goes as they won both their games. They're looking to keep their undefeated streak going in this one. They've only allowed 1 goal throughout the group play, and they'd like to keep that one as well. And Ohio Premier kind of checking out the scenes behind us as we have La Roca taking on one of the other teams in this group. So OP, pretty much knowing that they're going to advance, can kind of take a sideways glance and see how things are going on this other field, as I'm pretty sure that that's one of the other games to see how things finish out in this group. So we'll have a reported 2 minutes of stoppage time added on to this one as things creep closer to the inevitable finish. And Ohio Premier is going to finish this one undefeated, as that one is played right off the referee. Swarming around the ball are Fullerton, but they still can't come away with possession. Now up to the halfway line. Slotted through. Almost a giveaway. Aguirre able to steal it back. Maldonado. Board is put up. 2 minutes of added time. Castro just trying to get it up towards midfield. Now he could be called into action. Mesa going to test him. It's a goal kick. Came close to those fingertips, but ultimately it wasn't necessary for Castro to make the save. The first time that he's actually had to put a good effort into trying to stop a ball. He missed it, but he had the post well covered. It was going to take something pretty special to put it in the back of the net there, but it's nevertheless a great opportunity for Mesa to try to break this scoreless streak. Time ticket away here on this game. Rolling towards the end line. Fullerton trying to keep it in. Fasano telling everyone to get up as he wants to push it upfield. They want to at least get a goal out of this tournament. And as of right now, that has been hard to come by. It's been all OP here today, 2-0. They've dominated pretty much from start to finish in terms of the finishing. They're going to go for 3. And it ended up right into the hands of Fasano. Now popping one high up into the air, takes a high bounce. This one into touch. They try to close this one out. Ibarra just bangs it off the defender, and Brown looks a little bit shaken up after that. And here's Aragon, lobbing one up, looking for Maldonado. It takes a bounce, but right to the keeper. One last push up the field, and that was an easy offside call. He was off by a good 5 yards. Johnson a little too eager to try to get his own tally there. But there's the final whistle. This group has all but been decided. Ohio Premier is pretty much going to finish atop the group as they finished 3-0-0. They have 7 goals scored and only allowed 1. So they will finish top of their group, and they will wait and see who their opponent is going to be in the semifinals. For Fullerton, it's a sad day. They played their hearts out, but they could not get that scoreless streak broken. They score 0 goals and get 0 wins. They finish with a record of 0-1-2. That'll wrap up our coverage for the 16 and under group on the boys' side here today. Join us for more action on Saturday for the semifinals. Until then, for all our great crew here at Turbo Sports, for our fantastic cameraman, I'm Todd Panula. Have a great day.